Welcome to BamfordRose and another question of the week. This week it's about good, robust, reliable performance evolution, and that being a good thing to do for your ownership enjoyment experience, and identifying where to draw the line as to what is radical revolution and is pretty much gonna tear up the car, lose that factory seamless integrated feeling and just be a modification too far. This has to be one of the most popular subjects I get emails on, and you know, before we get into it, what we're talking about is, you know, can I fit a glass key docking station dashboard to a conventional key start car? So any of the range of engine mods we do, exhaust manifolds, catalysts, high lift cams, ECU remapping, this is all seamlessly integrated and this is a good mod to do, as is the big brake kit, Bilstein damper retrofit of chassis stiffening plates, uprated anti-roll bars. Then going on to cosmetics, M400 side sills or 2013 DB9 side sills retrofitted to earlier cars, carbon front and rear diffuser bumper kits retrofitted to V8, V12 Vantage boot lid swoosh replicated on a V8 Vantage, and even some of the more classic cars can have upgrades, like a classic Vanquish S front splitter retrofitted to a non-S which doesn't have a splitter and just has a piece of very expensive rubber acting as a splitter. You know, so even the heritage cars can have evolution that is good and isn't crossing the line of radical revolution. Even on a 4.3 V8 Vantage, you know, if the engine broke and you had to buy a new crank anyway, well, just buy a 4.7 crank, bore it out a bit bigger, buy the 4.7 piston kit and turn your 4.3 into a 4.7. That's fairly simple and straightforward. Retrofit of the lightweight bucket seats. Now they cost a packet from Aston, about 10 grand, but you know, you can fit those. Seat rails transfer, the electrics is easy enough to configure, and even the cutout in the dashboard to get the seat to do a full tilt forwards electronically. That whole package is easy enough to retrofit, and that certainly comes in as a, you know, a good evolution. And so would be some upgrades that the factory offered done later on, stuff like cruise control, front parking sensors. All these things are again very easy evolutions. So the things that are not possible, or with enough time and money you could probably get the part fitted, maybe with 80% functionality. There are some things that just won't function. The integration electronically is not possible. So there'll always be someone around the world that claims they've done it, but they will never have 100% integration. And the problems that you are living with because you're without some functionality is probably going to outweigh the benefit of doing that mod in the first place. So on the V8 Vantage, this would be the conventional key start with a push engine start button, retrofit that with the docking station and the glass key, obviously that different dashboard unit. That's not possible. It's not possible for several reasons. CAN communication network protocol is different on that center console module, and also the glass key docking station works with the hardware spec of electronic steering lock on the steering column, where your conventional key in barrel is your old type steering lock. So there's a few spec reasons why that won't work. The next would be if you had a later 4.7 and you had the glass key docking station. Some people want to upgrade to the later car touch sensitive dashboard. Again, that's not possible. If you had a car with the older Lin stereo and you wanted to upgrade to a B&O stereo, that's really not feasible at all either. If you were V8 sport shift and you wanted to go manual, or you were manual and you wanted to go sport shift, you know, this is only really feasible on race cars that were early build cars that were manual, and to get a competitive edge for a gentleman driver, then you would choose the sport shift. But totally not cost feasible to do either of those swaps on a road car. And even auto to a manual conversion, say on a DBS. Now, there weren't many DBS manuals built, and some people have had the idea that they can take an auto and convert it to a manual. Now, in terms of all of the components, this is actually possible, because you just need all of the kit of parts from a manual DBS. So pedal box, the center console trim, gear lever, and then torque tube, gearbox, reconfigure the electronics. And that is actually possible. It's just getting hold of all of the parts to do that conversion. But when you boil it down, price difference between an auto DBS versus manual DBS and the cost that it's going to take to acquire all the bits and labour to install it, you're probably better off selling your auto and buying a manual DBS. Other requests I've had is, well, you know, there's a V12 Vantage out there, it's based on the V8, so can I buy this V8 Vantage, it's really cheap, and get a V12 motor and stick it in it? Again, that one's feasible, it's just going to cost a fortune. Better off to buy the V12 Vantage to start with. And on the later V12s, you know, can I get the 565 variable cam time motor from the V12 Vantage S and fit it to my DB9? You know, that's not really feasible. And can I take the 5.2 twin turbo DBS Superleggero motor and stick it in my DB9? Again, that's not really feasible. On the classic Vanquish, there is a manual conversion available. Now, that is sort of cost feasible from an outlet that is offering that. It's just that if you were, and we've covered this in lots of videos, to drive your manual Vanquish, drive a perfectly performing, reliably performing sport shift classic Vanquish, the drive, everything to do with the ergonomics, how that car makes you feel when it's a manual, how it makes you feel when you're paddle shift standard, you're better off to bulletproof the paddle shift gearbox rather to convert that car to manual. But you know, the developer of that kit has put a lot of time and money into the components, the parts, and although that is a significant carve up of the car, it works in terms of your drive in, drive out, and it's possible. It's just the end result is poor and is not worth that money. Now, this question often gets asked by people that are looking to get into the Aston world. Perhaps they see features that they like on newer cars and they wish the older cars that were in their price bracket had those features. It's just there is a certain list of performance evolution and bodywork improvements that is possible, reliable, and doesn't detract in any way to do, and there's definitely a line that's drawn which is just too much of a carve up to get certain parts in the car, or it's not even a carve up, it's just fundamentally not possible at all. So I hope that outlines what is feasible and what is unrealistic, and we'd like to hear your comments. You know, have you done some of the revolutions that I say is pretty tricky? You know, what have you done to your car? As always, it really helps us if you can subscribe to our channel, click us a like and comment below. We'll see you on the next question of the week.